Episode 15. This is the Dandin and RJ Machismo podcast. This is Dandin. And tonight, we are the co-host RJ Machismo. He currently can't come in tonight because he's celebrating his wife's birthday. So happy birthday to Mrs. Machismo! Shout out. So tonight we got a special guest. We got the homie Mike Reyes, aka underscore Iron Mike on Twitter and IG. Thanks for having us.
Oh, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for reaching out.
Yeah. I've known you through a mutual friend, and I've seen you through social media, and then Nike Talk. Well, which we can talk more about it. So yeah, we're actually on we're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and also on SoundCloud. So appreciate you guys supporting us. Much appreciated. So yeah, so a little icebreaker, Mike. Tell us more about yourself.
So again, thank you for having me and reaching out. I feel honored to be a guest on your podcast. My name is Mike Reyes. My full name is Michelangelo Reyes. I'm born and raised in LA. I'm a designer. So I started out doing graphic design. I studied graphic design. I did that for a few years, jumped into footwear design and then color and material design. And now I do product design for an accessories company. That's a whole other journey. We can get into that later. Other than that, like, I just love shoes, man. I love shoes, basketball, sneakers, same thing. I've been doing this a long time and just happy to be here, man.
It's cool, man. And I'm assuming you're a Lakers fan, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
So tell us who's your favorite player now on the squad? Who we just talking
on the squad
about?
right now? My favorite player is LeBron James.
LeBron James,
yeah. I mean, what's funny is that you don't have a lot of people who grew up in LA who are LeBron fans. Like, usually if you grew up in LA, you're like, oh, I love Kobe, rest in peace, but like, you hated LeBron. But me, I was like, yo, I love Kobe and I love LeBron. Like, I was one of the few cats who like really appreciated LeBron. Yeah, so like, people would look at me funny when I buy the LeBron shoes and stuff like that. But I'm like, hey man, like, these are some sick shoes.
hey man, shout out to you, because like, from what I've observed, living here almost 10 years now, like, I don't understand. I get why people hate LeBron. I hated LeBron when he was at Cleveland, when I was a Wizards fan, when he couldn't get passed by him. But I couldn't understand like why like people in LA hated LeBron when he was with the Cavs, when he was in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think people hated him?
I think it was because it was like, in our eyes, he was kind of like Kobe's rival. Even though they never really faced off in the playoffs or finals or whatever. I think he was kind of just the guy who was always on Kobe's coattails, like not coattails, but like always chasing Kobe's legacy, or challenging it when, what is it, like 06, when Kobe was like killing it and then LeBron was like going up there too. I think that was when everyone was kind of like, oh, well, if you're not with Kobe, you're against Kobe. So you pick one or the other, at least over here in LA, right? Even though we never saw them in the playoffs, we see them 2 times in the regular season, but for some reason, everyone just had to hate LeBron, right? Because if it's not Kobe, then we gotta hate everybody else.
Oh man, well, now that he's with the Lake Show now, and then one more win to the NBA Finals, I'm sure, and hopefully, the diehard Laker fans, diehard Kobe fans can make amends, accept the current success, and then they're on the way to get 17. It's just going to be a tough task.
Yeah, no, I think now, especially, I mean, sadly, after Kobe passed away, I think LeBron kind of like was able to bring the city together, and it's like, and especially with the good play he's had like in the last year, he was able to win the fans over. Like, hey, this isn't Kobe versus LeBron. This is like LeBron trying to do it for the city, or like, at least for the Lakers, So I think now it's a different story. I don't see the hate for LeBron that I did last year. You remember when they had the mural and stuff like that, and people were like defacing the LeBron murals and all that stuff. Now I think the city has welcomed LeBron a little bit better.
For sure, yeah, and I'm glad the basketball is back. We had it for 3 months, 4 months. So Yeah, definitely. So, so more about yourself, Mike. I know you touched a little bit that you work with, sneaker companies. So
Mhm.
what was it like, working for, your previous profession, like with sneaker companies by designing footwear?
Mhm. Yeah, so I used to work for DC Shoes. Well, let me backtrack. So the road that led me to DC Shoes was that I was working graphic design. Right, I went to college studying graphic design, and I started working for like an advertising agency, and I was doing ads for like nonprofit organizations, like well, American Red Cross, like food banks and stuff like that. Uh, but at some point, I think I got a little like uninterested. Like it's really rewarding working for those kind of companies. You're helping people who in need. But at some point, I was still really young. I was like maybe 20, 24,
That's not
25
young.
when I was there. It's not. I mean, I'm not 18 or whatever. But
Yeah,
like
yeah,
as a new grad, you jump right into that. It's not the most exciting thing to work for.
yeah. Hmm.
So I think my director kind of saw that, and they're like, hey, you should kind of like find something else you're more interested in. So I left there, and I decided like forget it, let's do footwear design. Like I went into graphic design trying to study footwear design because at the time you don't really know where to go to study footwear, right? Like out of high school, I was like I need an industrial design degree to be a footwear designer, but I don't think there
Wow.
were too many. Yeah, there weren't too many spots in LA that offered that at the time. So I went into graphic design, and then after I left that spot, I was like, all right, let's go full throttle. Let's go for sneakers. So then I went all the way to Portland, studied footwear design in Portland, the mecca of sneakers, and I landed at DC Shoes afterwards because it was local, right? All the shoe spots, Nike, Adidas, are all in Portland. So there's like a handful here in LA. There was like DC, Vans, Skechers. It's not
Yeah.
very pretty, but there's a handful out here. So I jumped over to DC, and I was doing color and material design out there. So I wasn't technically designing shoes from scratch. I was taking models and creating a cool colorways for it, which I kind of had more fun with because it's a lot
Yeah.
less stressful than kind of having to build out a shoe. But it lets you play with the stories and storytell through materials and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Uh, Shout out to Mateo. I see Mateo in the
Hey,
background.
shout out to Mateo.
Hey,
Hey, what's up? Say what's up.
what's up, man?
Hi. He's just playing. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so DC was interesting. It was a crazy jump because usually my passion for shoes is in like basketball, right? And those kind of sneakers. So you throw me into a skating company, and I kind of didn't really know where to start, right? Because that's a different client or different customer base. So that was a whole other thing, just getting used to that. And then after that, I I left DC uh, because of like budget cuts. It was like I was a
Oh, okay.
yeah. So I was only there for like maybe half a year because
Half a year?
they made like a crazy acquisition. They had purchased, what was it? It was like some other company that was part of that owned like Ruka and a bunch of like other action sports companies.
Hmm.
So since I was like the last one in, I was the first one out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they had to make room for all the people that they just purchased, like through the companies. So since they let go of the new guy. So
Oh man,
I
that
left there.
sucks.
It was because I was really hands on about like, yo, we're gonna make DC shoes cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's not the most glamorous thing, but I was like coming up with all these crazy stories. I had all these other designs. Um, but it was satisfying just being able to get my shoes made. You know that was a crazy thing to be like, hey, I designed these shoes and now it's on sale in this website or in these stores. So
So
a fun thing.
so what shoe did you design? I mean, it's crazy, like within half a year, like you were able to design something as far as like
Mm-hmm.
your creative process. I'm sure there were
Mm-hmm.
sketches.
Mm-hmm.
You had your prototypes and then final draft. What shoes did you design or help design in at DC Shoes?
So what's funny is that when I got hired for kids shoes. So, so not only was I not in basketball, I was in skate, but on top of not being able to do men's shoes, which I'm comfortable with, I was having to do kids shoes, which is a whole different thing. You gotta make sure. Yeah. So I was doing color and material design for kids shoes, and I was able to design, what is it, two seasons,
Two
two full
seasons.
seasons of, yeah. So they kind of compressed their design process, and I was able to design way more than I should have in 6 months. And
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it was a good learning experience, but to like to answer your question, in order to design the shoes, you kind of have like a whole brief within your department.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is the direction we're going with. This is the theme, and design colors around these themes, right? So like let's say, what is it? Let's use like holiday. No, let's do holiday, fall holiday, for example, right? So they'll come at you and be like, all right, these are the seasonal colors that they're trend setting, right? They do trend research to find out what's going to be popular a year and a half in advance.
Right.
So, you kind of have to do all the research to see what's popping, right? And then you have to apply that to the shoes and tell a story with it. So each season we had a theme, and I think I'm past the point where I could say stuff like.
No, that's cool. I mean, you're no longer with them anymore, so.
Yeah. So like, I think at the time they were doing stuff with certain cities, right? They find inspiration from like Tokyo or what was it? I think when I was there, it was like Russia, which was kind of problematic at the time. Yeah, because I guess Moscow had like a big skate scene. Yeah. And they're like, hey, I think a lot of like cool stuff would come from this if we kind of like twist the stories around. So then they had the design team. You go in there and you do your own research and come up with your own ideas. Yeah. And you pitch it to everybody else. Then the creative director will be like, oh, I like this story. Let's all design off of that. And then it's more like honing down the story and the different color themes. So like one of the things I helped design was called they call it the blue line. Well, that was my story. I call it the blue line because
blue line. Okay.
Yeah, because in Moscow there was a park, like a legendary skate park. I think it's called Victory Park. Or is that the right one? There's a legendary skate park, and one of the things that's super interesting about Russia. I'm gonna get super deep on this stuff, but
no, it's cool, man.
Yeah. So yeah, one of the interesting things about Russia is that they have a bunch. Their train system is crazy, right? Their subway system. So one of the train lines that actually hits all of the major skate parks is the blue line. So I was like, okay, so we'll call this line the blue line, and their subway systems are super intricate and fancy looking. They're I think the description was like it's like an underground museum. Like you go downstairs, like go down into the subway, and you know how in like LA and like New York the subway system's kind of dirty and grimy. Like in Russia, it's like the complete opposite. It's like super ornate and fancy. So I was like, that's a cool thing where like you're tying in high fancy stuff,
right?
And low, because I think when you think of skateboarding, you don't think of like super luxury stuff. You think of like grungy, like street cats just like skating on the street or whatever, Right. So I was like, that's a cool way to bring the two together. And then you have a color, the blue line. So just like we designed a whole series of shoes that had like simple blue accents with like luxurious colors, like vanilla, like off-white type colors. You know what I mean? So that was my main story, and it got pushed through to production. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be it. But then I didn't get to see it come into fruition. Like I by the time like it was supposed to go out, like I was gone. I was like, long gone. Yeah, that hurt my soul. And then on top of that, I think what team is that? It's I think it's the sales team. They're kind of in charge. Oh no, the merchandising team. Like no matter how cool of a story you tell, like
right.
And this goes within any brand. It doesn't matter if it's like DC, Nike, whatever. Like the merchandising team will tell you like, oh, hey, we don't like how this looks. I don't like that blue. Let's change it because it won't match up with this and this. So that could have like butchered a ton of things. That happened a lot when I was doing all the kids shoes. I'd be like, oh, this is some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And then And then the merchandising team will be like, oh, let's just make it all black. And it's like, oh.
Oh man, I mean, is it because
Yeah.
like you're a new guy that, you know, I guess they have their say, oh yeah, you know, by the way, we wanted to turn it black or whatever color it's more popular
Yeah,
for that
yeah.
type of shoe.
I came in there as like the new guy with a young excitement about working in shoes while
Yeah.
everyone was kind of already tired of it. So I was throwing them all these ideas, and they're like, "Remember, this is kids' shoes, so kids they're gonna get their shoes dirty, so we'll make it all black or make it black and gray or all dark colors." And I'm like, "What about these like white suede or like vanilla colored suede that would look real cool on these shoes?" They're like, "Nah, I don't care about that.
Oh
Like,
man.
we're trying to make these last a long time for these kids," which makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's a different consumer. Like I went in there trying to fire off crazy ideas. Like this was 2018, and I was trying to bring them a bunch of ideas that hadn't been used in a while from like Nike. Because I mean, I think most sneakerheads, right? Like their passion comes a lot from like Nike and Jordan, right?
Yep.
So for me, I was like, hey, Nike hasn't used tearaway in a long time. We should do like the tearaway Vandals. You remember those?
Yeah, man. I remember
Yeah.
those. I wanted them.
Me too. And I was like, yo, that's a shoe I really wanted. And I think it would be fun. Off-white stuff was popping off, like Virgil and stuff. So I was like, it's a lot of like do-it-yourself type looks.
Yeah.
I told them, I was like, hey, Nike hasn't used tearaway in a while. They've used like the skate away, like when they did those SB1s where you skate off the black and it turns into like the black and reds or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, you guys should take tearaway and bring it to men's, and it'll be a cool thing. And it'll be, we haven't seen it in a while. You get all the popularity, and they're like, yeah, whatever, Mike, like whatever.
Oh,
and then,
man.
Yeah. And then next thing you know, Nike brings it back for like the Jordan 12s or whatever. And
with the wings, right?
Yeah. You remember where you like cut off the black and then underneath there's a crazy pattern on it.
Yep.
Yeah. So, no, I think I'm not sure if it was the wings or the Chinese New Year, but there was the wings one too where it was a wear away where it changed colors or something like that. Like there's a bunch of stuff where I was like, hey, you should do this and that and this, and they didn't listen to me. And then like the year and a half down the line, like Nike does it, and I'm like,
see,
like
they didn't listen to you, man.
So. But like, I mean, it's a business. I get it. You can't gamble too much on the new guy. But now, hey, here we are. DC still kind of DC.
Yeah.
Like they're trying. I'll get in that. I still have homies there. Shout out to the homies at DC. But like, man, if we would have caught that energy at the right time, it would have been something crazy. But hey,
so
it is what it is, though.
What years did you work in? What year did you work at DC Shoes?
It was 2018 to 2019.
Oh man, yeah, it was during that. I mean, it wasn't big right now on skateboarding, but
that's the thing too. Like, like chunky shoes were coming back. Everyone was wearing like a triple S's and stuff like that, the Balenciagas.
Right.
And then they were trying to bring a bunch of old school stuff back that was popular for them. And it worked a little bit, but I don't know. It was weird. They kind of got caught up in the SB hype now, so it's kind of like everyone's on SBs and like the DC stuff. Like, it's getting a little bit of traction, but it's just not as much as it could have been.
No, it's cool. I mean, like I said, at least you had the experience. You got a taste of what the sneaker corporate industry is like. I mean, it's not to say it's cutthroat. Unfortunately, you had to catch that bad end of the stick. But what's most important is that you were also able to, learn from it. Got more opportunities for you. So definitely, yeah, man. So you also attended a shoe design academy called Pensole. Tell us more about that experience.
That was nuts, man. There's a whole other story. Like, my friends make fun of me all the time because I had like a crazy Airbnb experience in Portland, and I will say that for another episode. I'll come back and I'll tell you.
Yeah, definitely.
Of a story, but Pensole was dope, man. It was me kind of like putting all my chips in one bag and like, all right, whatever. I'm not working right now. I'm gonna study footwear, and it's you legit learn the ins and outs of the footwear industry in like a super short time. But you're learning from like the best. Like the person who started Pensole was Dwayne Edwards. You remember him? He used to be the creative director for Jordan Brand. Yeah, and he designed the 21s and the 22s. and
Ooh,
sleepers, right? So he's
21s were sweet.
the red suede or the Ray Allen joints, the yellow and
Everything,
green ones.
everything.
Those,
I had all of them. Yeah, I was just a fan of the design.
mm-hmm.
It was some. I mean, especially the marketing too. That commercial was crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great shoe, and you're learning from the man himself. He's like, oh, this is how I designed the 21s.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was sitting with MJ and we're discussing this and that. So like,
Wow.
yeah, he tells you everything. And he's like, yeah, I think he might have done some trunners too. So he
Mm-hmm.
was like, yeah, I was working with Roy Jones Jr. and
Oh
yeah,
man.
this and that. Like, yeah, so you learn from them. And excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
my experience at Pensole was pretty dope. Like it's a super short time thing. It's like a month, and every day, weekends, like even you're just learning. There's a class every single day, and you kind of learn
Yeah.
the different aspects that you never really thought about. Like that's what I do now, right? So they taught me about color and material design, which is like I explained a little bit earlier, like picking the shoes and like, oh, this is the materials you're going to use, the colors, this is the storytelling. Like that's a whole other thing that they teach you over there. So they split you up: color, material design, footwear design, and like brand design, which is like marketing kind of. So I kind of since I was gambling on myself so heavy, I attended 2 different class sessions and I applied for every single thing. I was like, all right, well, if they don't accept me for footwear design, they're gonna accept me for something else because I'm like shotgunning everything. And I got accepted for footwear design and not footwear design, color and material design and brand design. And it was actually a part of a contest for Foot Locker where if you won, your the winning design was actually produced and sold at Foot Locker as a Foot Locker exclusive.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was with partnership with ASICS. So we got to meet the ASICS people, and we got to design a shoe for the Foot Locker client. And me myself, I didn't win. I kind of had, not to making excuses, but I had a card stacked up against me. I had 2. It's all about presentation, right? You present your design and you want to win them over. Mm-hmm. I had 2 cats who were international students and they didn't know how to speak English.
What?
Yeah, I had a dude from Russia who legit, in order to speak to us, he'd be on his phone and he'd be like, he'd be translating, and then he'll be like, he'd show it to us on his phone, like, oh, this. I'm like, dang, like, how are we supposed to present? Like, if he can't even speak English, like, he has to like study these lines and not like, no knock on him, but he could say and not completely understand what he's trying to convey, you know. And the other guy, my homie Ernesto, he was from Mexico, and he spoke English, but even then, like it would be a little bit broken. And he had a funny story where he told me he learned English by watching Family Guy. So
Man.
Yeah. So it was a lot of us trying to get things together to like present our ideas. And what's funny is that our idea was kind of like a hiking type idea with a shoe. They give every team the same shoe, but you color it up and you redesign it however you want, and you market it however you want, and you present that at the end of the month. And the winning design, like I said, gets put in Foot Locker. And we created like an ACG type looking shoe. It had like hiking shoe type vibes where it was like browns, but like like the 90s ACG has like teal and yellows.
Yeah, those are sick. Like the wild colors, man. Yeah.
So we threw that on the shoe, and we're like, yeah, it's about walking your path through your journey. And but we had a crazy story with it, and like I think by the end of it for myself, I was happy we just got through the presentation because it was a struggle, man. Like just trying to get everybody on the same page, especially with the language barrier. But like it's a month of my life I'd never changed. Like it was insane. Like the learning I did there for footwear design was second to none. If anybody ever asked me for like advice on like how to get into the footwear industry and stuff, like I would always shoot them over to Pensole just because they teach you so much over there. And and now I'm here doing it's like semi footwear related work, but I'm kind of in there.
Yeah. So I also saw like on your social media that there was a special one of your favorite musical artists, Pharrell Williams. Want to just touch into that?
Oh yeah. So, when was this? This was like, yeah, when I was still working at the advertising agency. Like I said, I was kind of like getting a little bored over there.
Yeah.
So, Adidas had actually put out a design contest for Pharrell, and a little backtrack. Like back in high school, I was the hugest like Neptunes fan, right? Not just Pharrell, but Chad, right? You got to represent the
man.
Filipinos.
Yeah.
Filipinos, baby. You got to represent. Yeah. So I was obsessed with the Neptunes, and I was like, yo, I have to rep for Pharrell, right, for this contest. So I went hard, and I legit, I think, what happened? I was trying to come up with a concept for this contest, and I couldn't think of anything. And you had like a day to enter, and I think maybe 2 hours before the deadline. The deadline might have been like 3 p.m. on a Wednesday. I started working on Tuesday. Couldn't think of anything, and then on my lunch break at work on that Wednesday at 12 o'clock before the 3 p.m. deadline, I came up with some crazy art concept at the last second. I submitted it, not thinking anything of it, right? Because there's a lot of people entering this thing.
Yeah.
And then I think, I'm not sure if it was the day after, like I got a random DM from Adidas, like, oh, you've been selected to work with Pharrell on a new design, blah blah blah. And I was like, oh man, I lost it. I might have jumped out of my couch. I was watching, I think I was watching the game, and I jumped up like, oh snap.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next week, I think Adidas had us all go down to Nice Kicks in LA.
Okay.
Yeah. And we got to go into a little, not a studio, but into their workspace. And what's funny is that this whole time I'm thinking like, oh, I get to do like some crazy artwork with Pharrell or like something, right? We're gonna be there in the studio working together. Like they put us in there and they're like, hey, we're gonna have all of you artists design a quilt.
What?
Yeah. I'm like, a quilt? Like I did all this graphic work to get hired over here or to get selected so we could do a quilt. Like I don't knit. I don't like, how to stitch and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I had one guest and it was my brother. I brought my brother with me and we were just like, all right, whatever, we'll put something together. And my design thingy, the thing that I got accepted with, when I put it together, I was kind of thinking about Adidas, right? Everything Adidas is like 3, right? 3 stripes. Even the leaf logo, the Trefoil logo, 3 leaves or whatever, right? So I was like, okay, everything has to be in thirds, right? Even in design, there's a thing called the rule of thirds. So everything was 3, right? So the Pharrell thing was about beaches, right? So I was like, okay, we'll separate the beach. I'll design a beach graphic, and it'll be split into 3. So there's the sand, the water, and the sky, right? That's 3. There's a lot of eyeballs in the graphics, so I created an eyeball in the middle, and the eyeball was split into 3 pieces. There was like 3 eyelashes on the lids. Like I was like, all right, Adidas everything on this design, and that's how I got selected. Because me personally, I don't think the design was that great, and I was really surprised that I even got chosen. But when it came to making the quilt, I was like, I guess I'll do the same thing. So I created a 3-level thing, but I wanted it to be about the Neptunes, right? So it was the planet, maybe was it the moon? The planet, the moon, and like space or whatever. And I kind of, no lie, like I kind of like BS my way into just putting together whatever you could, because on the spot you asked me to knit and or like make a quilt, and I wasn't ready. And I think a lot of people did the same. They kind of just put whatever together. And then I think an hour into the process, Pharrell comes in and he critiques your design. You have to present it to Pharrell. You kind of feel like, all right, so, yeah. So like I'm like, oh yeah, well, I use like my presentation skills of like kind of a low key kind of BS'd it. I was like, yeah, this represents the 3 levels of life. Blah blah blah. Like this represents so and so. I had a little bit of orange there because my name's Michelangelo. Ninja Turtle.
Nice.
And so like I presented to him and he's like, oh yeah, that's dope. And I was like, yeah, thanks. Pharrell tipped myself as dope. And then I had, do I have it here? I had this in my pocket the whole time. Hold on, let me grab it real quick.
Yeah, sure.
What is it? Yeah. So like I said, I'm a big Neptunes fan. So in my back pocket the entire time while I was sweating trying to get this design together, I got
I
insert
saw
show.
that.
Yeah. So I had it in my pocket. So while he was I was done presenting. I was like, yo, by the way, can you sign this for me? And he's like, oh yeah, for sure. And I told him like, oh yeah, it's my favorite album. Run to the Sun is my favorite NERD
It's my
song. It's my
favorite
favorite song
too.
of all time. Yeah, yeah. It's my favorite song ever. So I told him that, and he's like, oh yeah. And I think this was before their most recent album came out.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, oh. And at the time, no one knew that they were even in the studio. And he was like, oh yeah, there's more of this coming. And I was like, oh shoot, like you're breaking news to me that new NERD work is coming. So that was a crazy moment. I mean, it wasn't as hands on with Pharrell as I wanted to,
Yeah.
but like it's still nuts. They invited us to the launch party for his shoe afterwards, and that was a whole other like crazy day. We had to drive all the way to West Hollywood for
Wow.
Oprah
Okay.
Studios. Yeah, so my brother's my plus one to this event, and we're there, and all these like I thought it was nothing big, right? Because the thing at Nice Kicks wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But we get there, it's a big tent, and then nobody's there, and then slowly as the day goes by, like celebrities start popping up, like who was it? Janae Aiko showed up, Big
Wow.
Sean showed up, Tyler the Creator showed up, ASAP Rocky, and then like DJ Khaled popped in there.
That's
It was
wild.
wild. Yeah, and it's not like a thing where we can't run into them. Like you
Yeah.
could bump shoulders with them and be like, oh hey, what's up? And you just like chop it up. So I have a picture. I have a picture with Janae. Who else? My brother got a picture with Big Sean. But like, yeah, it was cool just rubbing elbows with celebrities and
Man, that's awesome, man.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a big plus, but like, you were there to, showcase like your designing skills, and then you were able to present it to Pharrell. And the fact that he gave you props for something that you made, as a presentation, and then the fact, and on top of that, he signed, your album, your CD.
No.
It was crazy. Like you had the thing in your pocket. I'm sure you're
It was
nervous.
super
Yeah.
uncomfortable, but
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
sure that thing. I'm sure it's uncomfortable having a square thing in your pocket.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It
Yeah,
was funny. I was like,
yeah,
this
man.
is my
I'm
chance.
glad. Yeah, definitely. Like that's an awesome experience. So another thing about you, Mike. I know that you said that you were a big Laker fan, Kobe Bryant fan, and it's unfortunate that Kobe and Gianna are not here with us anymore. You recently designed a Kobe and Gianna Bryan memorial shirt, which the proceeds went to charity. So if you want to tell us more about it, what was your process, what's your thoughts on the design and what it meant to you?
Mhm. Yeah. So for me, I think when I was designing the shirt, I originally wasn't even gonna make a bunch of them. I kind of just did it as a personal project because I have it here. Hold on, I have
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
sample. Yeah. So when I was designing it, it just has a photo, right? It has a photo and like butterflies, right? So the thing that inspired me was that I saw a lot of bad designs. I saw a lot of like really cheesy ones.
There's a lot of like the ones that you like when he died. I mean, I hate to say it, but people were profiting like off his death.
Hmm.
You saw those
Yeah.
bootleg shirts at Staples Center and like
Hmm.
all those like
Yeah.
boutiques. It's terrible, man. Like there's no
Yeah.
thought. You were saying there's no thought. There's no creative designing in it.
Hmm.
It's just like something they would just whip on like Adobe or like Microsoft Paint. Sorry
Hmm.
to say that,
Yeah.
but it was that type of like quality.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I felt like such a hater, but like there
No.
was a lot of designs that I didn't like, and I was like, all right, I
Yeah.
feel bad that that's out there. So, uh, and I didn't want to be a person who kind of just profited off of like Kobe's passing, right? So when I was designing it, I was kind of like, all right, this is a personal moment for me. Like the image that's on the T-shirt is a picture that I took when I went to the first Laker parade in 2000. I like to tell the story that I skipped school the last day of school that year to go see the Lakers because I was like, yo, we just won our first chip in my lifetime. Like, so I was like super excited. So I had that picture, and it's been in the photo album for years, and I never really thought about it. And then after everything happened, I was like, all right, I'll put something together. And I didn't, in the odd chance that the T-shirt blew up, like I had no, like I didn't want to be. didn't want to be the people like who just put all the photos together where they use the same pictures you see everywhere, right? Like you see the same picture of Kobe dribbling, the 81, you know, the pose with the finger up, all that stuff. Like, and that's not, you know, in me working in like footwear and clothing and just like learning about legal stuff, you're not allowed to use those photos, right? Technically, like if the owner of that photo sees it, they could sue you. So I wanted to be able to use my own photo, but put like a cool story with it, right? So it's the photo that I took of Kobe at the championship parade. And then back in February when they had the memorial for him and Gigi, I was lucky enough to get a ticket, and I was able to go. And through all the designs for that event, there's a lot of butterflies, right? And then Kobe even has a butterfly tattoo on his arm, the crown. And it's funny because as a kid, when I saw it, I would make fun of it. I was like, "Come on, Kobe, man, that's a soft ass tattoo," you know. But it was kind of inspiring, right? There's butterflies all through there, and it's kind of like something that represents him and Gianna. So I was like, let's put those moments together, right? Because essentially that's like the first and like the last moments of Kobe that I had. So I put them together in that design, and then on the T-shirt. So these are the same butterflies that you'll see on the invitation for the ceremony.
Okay.
But to kind of like change it up a little bit, I cut it down to just 20 butterflies to represent the 20 seasons Kobe had as a Laker, and between the purple and gold, the gold butterflies act as a timeline. So it goes, I'll bring this back up. So it goes from here to here, from 96 all the way to 2016, and all the gold ones represent the championship years. So technically this is like 2000, 2001, 2003.
Yo, that's
whatever, right? Yeah.
That's creative. You know, now that's creative.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I mean, it's cool that you're letting us know. Like, I also bought a shirt, you know, and I was hoping to get it today.
I know.
And I was gonna be that dude to wear it and say, hey, like I actually like the design, and all it's a nice design that you made, and this is just me from a customer standpoint. You're right. There's so many bad designs. Not to offend anyone. There are some good ones too, but I was just picking the ones that were nice. Some of them look like very, something you see from like Union or Undefeated or like Antisocial. That kind. You see those kind of designs. When I saw yours, it was actually like I saw the meaning to it. Like I saw you and your dad. I think you were like sitting on top of not a garbage can, but like
it was a newspaper stand.
Yeah. I think you said your dad took a picture of you. I think you were wearing eyeglasses, and then you know what I mean. You were like, I guess you were excited. It looked like your face was excited. Yeah. For me, I was like, you know what? Like, I really like your story in the shirt. So like, and then it was also a nice charity too. Can you tell us more like what the charity that you donated those shirts for?
So like we were saying before, like I didn't really want to profit off like the other guys who were kind of just like selling T-shirts just to Kobe's a hot topic right now. I'm gonna sell these T-shirts to kind of just make a hot buck off of it,
right?
And then profit off of it, right? So I felt bad even when people like resell Kobe shoes. Like I couldn't be that guy,
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure all the proceeds from the shirts went to After School All Stars, which was another charity that Kobe had actually like supported back in the day. And I think the Lakers are one of their sponsors now too. And they're all about like helping create after school programs for kids in need, so no one's like just staying by themselves after school. They have something to do, or help students in need with anything like that. I mean, it's kind of strange now since like everyone's like working or like having school at home, but like I thought it was a good charitable company to donate to, and it was something that Kobe had supported before also, so it made sense, right? And then there was also the Mamacita Fund, the basketball, the youth basketball team that Kobe had supported, and I wanted it was between that and After School All Stars, but I figured like everyone was bumping like Mamacita Sports like so much that I thought that they were getting enough support, and I'd show some love to the other one, you know, the After School All Stars. So luckily I was able to donate like a ton of money. I couldn't have imagined.
Yeah, I saw that too. I'm like, whoa. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, because like I think you have a pretty you're pretty well known in the local social media and, you know, SoCal, LA area. Nike Talk as well, primarily. You know, I saw that there are a lot of people that are reaching out like, hey, like I wanna buy a shirt and let me support. You know, it only took that one design and the meaning to it. And how did that, like, were you surprised at the feedback and reception that you got with?
Yeah. Yeah, man, totally surprised, because I remember, like I said, I wasn't gonna even make it. I was gonna make it one, since it's a personal story. I was just gonna do one for myself, and leave it at that. And then a bunch of people were DMing me or like, yo, if you decide to sell it, I'll purchase it. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And I think the day before I was gonna say it's on sale, I told my cousin who was helping me with it, I was like, I think on the high end I'll get maybe 50, 60 sales, right? That seems reasonable enough. But then it blew up, and I ended up doing like over 150
wow
sales. Yeah. So even before I hopped on this podcast, I was out there like trying to package all the shirts to send them out, because I finally got them in. But yeah, that was totally unexpected. I thought I'd have, like I said, maybe 50, 60, some homies, whatever. But I had a bunch of like strangers hitting me up who didn't know me. Like I was surprised to care for my story on the shirt.
Yeah.
But I think the most random one was I had a dude from Minnesota purchase a shirt. Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, Minnesota, how the hell did you find
got a fan base, Mike? You know what I mean?
I don't know about
you're I mean, I'm saying, you're not a fan base, but it's spread it out, you know. Your design spread out. Yeah, and then hopefully if and when, you know, if the Lakers win it all, you know, maybe that would be another design for you, maybe a second shirt. You make some sort of like LeBron, Kobe type of shirt. I mean, I don't want to give stuff away or I give you any ideas, but that'll be cool.
I mean, I'm working on something else. I'll tell you off the pod.
Yeah, right? for sure.
But I mean, ideally, since the shirt itself is them on like a championship parade, it would be fire if they wore it like after they won, you know?
Yeah.
So let's say they're coming back from the bubble and they're all wearing the T-shirt, that'd be pretty sick.
Oh yeah,
but
definitely.
You know, that's wishful thinking.
Of course, they know. They got 5 more to go, so
hey,
5 more wins. All right,
I'm not gonna win.
Yeah, hopefully. So now to the good part, Mike. Me and you, we got one thing in common, and it's sneakers. What got you into sneakers? And so what got you into sneakers? Tell us more about it, and then, you know, if there's any like favorite shoes that you've had in the past, tell us more.
Yeah, I've always loved sneakers, like even at a young age, and it's like 100% because of my dad. My dad, my name is Michelangelo, right?
Right.
So he told me a funny story that I'm actually named after the Ninja Turtle, because
really,
they had my sister name me, and she picked her favorite Ninja Turtle. But originally, my dad wanted to name me Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, like the whole first and last name.
Yeah, that would be my name is Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. That's cool though.
Yeah, but my mom wasn't having it. She was like, "No, I don't really like that."
Yeah.
So then they asked my sister, and now Michelangelo, right? So my dad's always been a big Jordan head, and like luckily as a kid, at the time we were able to afford Jordans. So my first pair of Jordans were the black red. I don't like calling them Raptors, but the Raptor 7s.
And my homie Julian. Shout out to Julian. So he hates the names Breads. He got games, Raptors. So he has the thing. Shout out to Julian. He says there's 2 types of Jordans: regular season Jordans, playoff Jordans. And I get it, like, you know what I mean. I mean that's what the type of era that we were at. But yeah, you're also not a fan of like nickname shoes, right?
Yeah, I mean, I want to say of all the nicknames, like I'm not gonna be mad if you call the grapes, right? Cause
I mean, it's great. One color.
Yeah, but like I think on some like some purist level stuff, like the Raptors weren't around in '92, so they're not the
Exactly.
Raptors.
Just because you see it's black, red, and purple, say, oh, it's a Toronto Raptors shoe.
Yeah.
Jordan didn't play for the Raptors. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that was my first pair of shoes at 2. I was 2 years old, and there's like pictures of me walking around in the 7s. And it's a weird thing, but I remember like one of my first memories, period, was me. I remember as a kid looking at the shoe and looking at the bottom of the shoe and thinking like, whoa, these patterns on the bottom are crazy. These colors are nuts. I don't even know how old I was at that point. I might have been like 3 or 4. Maybe I was 2 still, but like that was a real moment for me as a kid.
Yeah.
Like appreciating these 7s. And ever since then, like if my dad could afford to do it, he'd keep me and my little brother in sneakers and some like Jordan. So there's the 7s. I don't think my next pair of Jordans was until 12.
Okay.
12 or the Jumpman Pros. I had the Jumpman Pros. I'm not sure. Those came out after the 12s, right? The white and blue joints, the one that like Eddie Jones. Yeah.
The Pro Quicks.
No, I didn't have the Pro Quicks. I had the first Jumpman Pros, the white and navy.
Oh yeah, the 12s. Yeah, the 12s.
Yeah. They look like the 12s, right?
Yeah.
So I had the taxis as a kid. I had the Jumpman Pros. Then I had the 13s, and then 14s. Nice. And then after that, like some stuff happened where, you know, I think my dad had lost his job, and everyone's story before is like I couldn't afford Jordans as a kid, and then when I finally, you know, I kind of have the reverse where I was able to afford Jordans as a kid, but then I lost it and I wasn't able to because of financial reasons, and then I think that made me want to get back into it later, right? So like I had to. Yeah, Jordans have been like a thing in my life forever, right? Especially since I was almost named freaking Michael Jordan.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's always stories of me like I wanted the 16s really bad, and we couldn't afford it, so I had to get good grades. I turned my grades around and made the honor roll, just so my grandpa would get me some 16s.
Which ones did you get? Which ones?
Black and red.
Woo!
Black and red. Yeah.
Love those.
Yeah. So yeah, man, sneakers. Jordans have always been a thing for me. Nike, basketball. Yeah. So my main things in sneakers are my dad, then my uncle. We call him Kuya Vic. Technically, he's my dad's half brother, but he's only like 5 years older than me. So it's almost like So he's like a Kuya, right? He's like an older brother.
Yeah.
So my Kuya Vic, he's the one who got me into footwear design. Like up until until he told me, I didn't know you could go to school to be a footwear designer, right? Mm-hmm. So he's the man. Like he was studying industrial design. He met Tinker. He's been to Nike headquarters, and like Tinker critiqued his portfolio and all that stuff. Like he was the inspiration for me to go into like graphic design, footwear design, all that stuff. So if it wasn't for my dad, my Kujovic, and just the game of basketball in general, like those are the main cores of why I'm into footwear, pretty much.
That's crazy. So ever since you were a kid, your dad was lacing you and your brother in some Jordans.
Yeah, I mean, if he could, right?
If he could, yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I think when we were younger, especially when the shoes are smaller, right? You don't have to pay like the $100-something. Like we had, me and my brother both had the Jumpman Pros. I had the 12s. My brother didn't have the 12s. Actually, no. Me, my dad, and my brother had the Jumpman Pros. That was when we were balling. That was when it was like life was good. But then as our shoe sizes got bigger, the money got a little thinner.
Yeah.
And then me and my brother had the 13s, black, white, and red. And then after that it was. I think I was on my own after that.
No, that's cool. So is your dad still into shoes? Like, is he still like?
A little bit. Like he'll appreciate it, but he's not like I tried to give him a really cool Father's Day gift when the black, white, and red 13s came back out.
Yeah.
He got those for me and my brother, but he didn't get them for himself. Right. Yeah. So when those came back out in, I think it was 13 or 14, 13 maybe. Mm-hmm. I got it for him for Father's Day. I was like, hey, I got you these 13s. Yeah. And he opened the box and he's like, these are cool, but like I'm like 50 something now. I'm not gonna wear these.
Oh man, that kind of like popped your balloon. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know. I thought I was doing something like super special, and he was like, what did I have? I had the wheat 13s, right, which are white and brown, and it's not. It's still a crazy shoe, right? The 13 itself is like a crazy design, but I think the wheat kind of match the colors that he wore more instead of the drastic like black, white, and red. So he's like, you know what? Give me those wheat 13s, and you could have these black, white, and reds. I was like, all right, cool. So we just traded.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Those are sweet though. The wheat 13s. I mean, those are like the lifestyle shoes? Like
the LS.
Yeah, the LS joints. Yeah. Yeah, those are good days, man. Hopefully, yeah, because like with me, like I've been buying shoes like in the side store, like with me, I've been buying like kid shoes before my kid was born. So he's kind of has shoes. I think he's good until like maybe 12, 13, 14 years old.
Dang, okay.
It's crazy. So like I got a stash for him. And the thing about it is that I didn't pay retail for them, man. Like it was always on clearance. It was always like, it was cheap. So I was like, you know what? One day when I was gonna have a kid, I'm just gonna buy. I don't care if it was like size 3 youth, size 5 youth, a 10C. I knew at some point, you know what? I'm gonna get these for him. Whatever kid, boy or girl, and luckily I had a boy. But I would have been blessed if I had a boy or girl. I just stacked them, man. So like, I mean, you've seen my kid, man. Like it's fun.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I just dress him up. Like it's fun, man. Like he appreciates. Like, he tells me like, Papa, like you like. He was like, what would he say? He's like, I like Nike shoes just like you. I like Nike shoes. I didn't teach him that. I didn't teach him that. So I was like, it's funny that how like I see like hearing your stories about your dad is like what I'm going through with my kid, which is it's cool. It's just like organic, right? And then hopefully like down the road I can be appreciative. Like if my kid gives me a pair of 13s, like I said, you don't know how much this means to me. Like this is something I can actually wear and doesn't crumble. So props to your dad, man. I'm sure he's wearing your 13s at some point. Maybe not in your presence, but I'm sure deep down inside he appreciates it. So, So you were saying that your favorite pairs. What were your favorite pairs of Jordans and Nikes?
Well, oh man, that's a whole other.
Let's go. This is all about you, bro.
I was gonna ask you what's Mateo's favorite pair of shoes. Does he have a pair that he's like, oh, these are my favorite Nikes?
Right now, he likes the. Honestly, I think he just like the runners right now. Because I had him in basketball, but before the whole COVID stuff happened, like I pulled him out of basketball. But he was wearing like Jordan 1s. He was hooping in like Mellow 1s. He was hooping in like white cement 3s, like the 03 ones. It's crazy. Okay. And then like his basketball instructor would be like, this kid's like wearing like heat like every day. Like for me, it's like nothing. You know what I mean? Like he's only like 5 years old, 4 or 5 at the time, and he just likes like light shoes. He doesn't like anything bulky. Like I had him wear like foam posits. He said, I don't like them. It's like heavy. I said, you know what? It's a DC thing. I'm gonna let you appreciate it when you get older. You'll understand why.
Yeah,
so
you're gonna have him.
He likes runners. He likes Air Maxes. Those type of stuff like low cuts. Well, about you though, like I'm asking you, like, what's your favorite pairs?
So, dang, okay. If you ask me, my favorite pair ever is the black cement 3s. That's another story because like when I got the 16s, I like the 16s, right? And I got them partially because of the Most Def Umi Says commercial, the Jordan 16 commercial.
Yeah.
So I really wanted those, but the day I went to go buy them. I remember vividly in the Glendale Galleria, their champs had when champs had a different layout before, when they had a weird register in the glass case at the register.
Right.
There's a pair of black cement 3s in the glass case.
That came out the same year. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, damn, like I want those. Like these 16s are cool, and there's a lot of them, but I want those. And but at the time, I think the 16s were my first really expensive shoe. That's when my grandpa had to get it for me. Because I finally got into size 7, and size 7 is at that time was the men's threshold, right? When you get into men. So I was like, yo, I want these black cement 3s. What size you guys got? And they're like, oh, we only have 10s. I was like, damn.
Oh, man.
It was something I always wanted. So, I mean, the shoe itself, I mean, I feel like black cement is like everybody's favorite, but that was a story that I wanted black cement, but I got, I mean, 16s aren't a bad consolation prize, but so yeah, my favorite shoe of all time is the black cement 3. The 7s, again, the Raptors will always have like a special place in my heart, even though a lot of people don't really bang with 7s as much. And what else? The Kobe 1s. The Kobe 1s are my favorite shoe, especially to play basketball in. They're like ridiculously heavy now.
Adidas or Nike?
Oh no, the Nike ones.
I was about to say like the Audis, the Audi ones.
Yeah, no, the Adidas ones aren't bad. I actually like the ones. The 2s are the ones where everyone's like, no, that's not it.
Yeah, but, they're whack.
The ones were dope. I never got them as a kid. You know what's funny? I think I passed on the Kobe 1 Adidas because there's like a mesh version. Do you remember that from the?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
There's a mesh one. And it was either that or some questions. And I got some questions. White Carolina blue low top questions.
Those are straight.
Yeah. And that, like, all those shoes had to be copped from like relatives. Like my grandma got me those shoes or whatever. It was never from my pops.
You can't pass free shoes, man, from relatives.
Yeah. No, you can't. Whatchamacallit. But yeah, so the Nike Kobe 1 is my favorite shoe, probably to play basketball in.
Which color is your favorite?
Oof, that's tough because especially now that after they retroed them and they came out with all those like the undefeated colors and stuff.
Yeah.
But the color that I had was the black and white, the OG one that they didn't retro. So like I was happy about that. I had some stuff that nobody has. Dang, if I had to pick a favorite though, it'd probably be the black and yellow.
The black, white, and maize ones.
Yeah. I was able to cop those when they re-released
the Protros.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I got those. I have a lot of the Protro ones. Well, not a lot. I have like 3. I have the white undefeated, the black and maize, and then the 81.
Nice. Yeah. It's wild, right? Like those Kobe Protros went to the outlet and nobody cared about them.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he passed away, it's like sought after, which is wild. I mean, I get it. Everybody wants a piece of history.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's pretty nuts because like I had the 81s. I got them off sneakers. I never went off sneakers, but I got I got them on there, and I was like, cool, I got them. And then they sat, right? And then you could have had the 81s for legit like $75.
Yeah, that's what it's going for. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was still sitting on them. I was like, should I just return this pair and then buy it back for $75 and get myself $100 back? But then, legit, this was maybe the week that he passed away. So I was like, damn, well, I guess that's not happening anymore. I'm just going to hold on to these.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a bunch of, everybody just picking up all the Kobe's just hurts now because then everybody's pissed.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Especially like the sneaker community. Like it's still a sensitive subject. Like when you see like a resale price for like, X amount of dollars, is like, man, you just shake your head like, man, you're still trying to like profit off this guy, man. Like, which is, I mean, it's crazy. And the sad thing about Nike is that they're still continuing to limit these quantities, right? Like Mambo Week was dumb, like with all due respect. Every Kobe collector or diehard fan, Laker fan, it's sad to say, like they couldn't even get at least one pair of those those 5 pairs that came out, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a different perspective because I can say this as someone who worked in, even though it was 6 months, I worked in footwear, right? The footwear calendar, like everyone was mad, right? Like, I couldn't get my Kobe's and Mambo Week. I want to honor Kobe. All these real sellers got them. Like a lot of people were complaining that Nike should have made like way more of the Kobe's, right?
Mm-hmm.
Working in footwear, I know that they work a year and a half in advance.
Okay.
Right? So even if they wanted to, Kobe passed away in January, right?
Right.
Mambo Week happened in August.
Mm-hmm.
In between January and August, you had COVID and all the factories shut down. Even for my company that I work for now, our companies were shut down for like 2 months.
Right.
So there was that. There's COVID taking out the factories. And on top of that, I believe someone on Nike Talk who was pretty reputable said that once Kobe passed away, it kind of nullified his contract. And Nike and Vanessa had to renegotiate to see like what to do with the rest of the Kobe stuff. So not only did Nike have to renegotiate with Vanessa, you have to give her time to grieve, right? So in the 8 months between Kobe's passing and Mamba Week, you take away 2 months for COVID, right?
That's
and
6 months. About 6, yeah.
Yeah, and then even when factories started to open up, they were working at maybe 40%, if that,
capacity.
Right? So that like as much as people are complaining, and with good reason, that there's not enough Kobe's around for people to purchase. Like the honest fact, I mean, I don't want to say fact because I don't know how Nike operates on that level, but from someone who also worked in footwear for a little bit, I would say that Nike didn't have the time or the resources, maybe the resources, but not the time to reproduce shoes that they already had planned to make a year and a half ago. You know what I mean? So like they already planned to have these DeRozans, even if it's just the DeRozans and the PJs and like all these other Kobe shoes to be like somewhat limited. You know what? Actually, I think the Kobe's weren't even limited, right? Because if you look at all the Pro Tros, the ones that sat, they weren't limited. They were GRs, right? Just nobody wanted them. But now everybody wants them, and it's the same quantity. So now it feels like it's super limited, but it's really not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, as much as I feel for everybody who couldn't cop any Kobe's, like I think everyone who's kind of yelling at Nike for not making more when Kobe passed away is like you're yelling at them for the wrong reasons. Like it's not like they couldn't try. So I mean that's my take on it at least. Also, Nike hired me. I could defend you guys.
Yeah, man. I mean, you are defending them. You know what I mean? Like, because it's tough. It's I get it now. I see it from a designer's perspective. You know, it is a sticky situation. There's the Kobe passing away, like you were saying. COVID happened right a couple weeks after or a month after, and then the quantity, like you know, the supply and demand too. Yeah, there's so many like shoes that they couldn't distribute. So I get it. So yeah, it's just unfortunate. Like it all had to happen all at the same time. You know, I wish it would like Kobe was still here with us, and maybe he would have done something about it, or you know, powers that be. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I think the only thing we could do now is hope that for next year with the sixes, right? They're coming back with sixes. Is for that for that run, they'll be able to produce more to meet the demand, right?
Yeah.
But for the fives, I don't think it's gonna happen. So everyone's gonna be upset this whole year when all these releases come out, and it's gonna be like it's gonna seem limited, but you kind of just have to ride it out until next year, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I hope like I wish they would run in order. My opinion, like the 2s, 3s. We got a bunch of 4s already. A bunch of 4s.
I know. I feel like the 2s and 3s are so slept on because I think aesthetically they're not easy to wear.
No.
Like casually, right? Because everyone loves about casual shoes right now.
Yeah.
4s and 5s are kind of casual looking. 6, I guess, but like 2s and 3s are great. But like they're not easy for everybody else to digest.
Yeah, I mean the 2s had the nice line. And you know, I'm sure you know your Kobe's too. Like they had the Kobe 2 strength, the Kobe 2 light. The Orcas are my favorite, man. Like I've had those things, bro. Like I bought them. I bought them at the Nike. At Nike, I bought them. I got them through Nike Talk through the outlet. They were selling them like $49.99. Phone orders, free shipping. It was crazy. And then my boy RJ, he also got the Orcas and also the Kobe 2 lights, which nobody wanted. You know, it was like that had half white, half purple shoe.
I have the lights.
You still have them?
And the Orcas. I have those too. Yeah. I mean, you want me to? I could bring them out. I don't know. They're probably at the bottom of the stack, but yeah, I have the lights and the Orcas. I got the lights from the Philippines. Because I think, if I remember correctly, outside of the outlets, I think the lights might have only released in Asia.
It was an Asia exclusive, yeah.
Yeah. So my tita was in the Philippines, and she can come back like every so often. And that's where I got my wheats too. Like, I'm not on some Green Hill stuff. Like, they're for real from like the Nike store, because no one was buying like these $150 sneakers in the Philippines. So they come back and cop them for discount, for player prices.
Player prices,
Oh, here's these Orcas. Not the Orcas. The Orcas were from here, but the lights and the Wheat 13 were from the Philippines.
Lighter, man. Like I had a chance to get the lights, and then I like, no, I don't need them. I already got the Orcas. Orcas are nice because like it's like the dolphin look kind of thing.
The patent leather on the
patent
toe.
leather, yeah, and then the two straps, which is nice. I mean,
yeah.
Kobe wore them in the I think is it 05? Like when he played the Suns,
right?
6
or 7.
Yeah.
6.
Yeah. There that game when he hit that game winner, and then that game 6 where he didn't want to like pass the ball. I mean, he didn't take a shot.
Game 7 where he didn't take
a shot. Game 7. Did he wear Orcas? Did he wear Orcas, or did the game before that?
I know he wore Orcas for one game. I'm not sure which season.
Yeah.
Or not which. That was
that same series. Man, I wanted them.
Yeah. No. Well, you're okay with the lights because as cool as the lights look, they felt terrible. Like they're so stiff.
I kind of feeling they look kind of cheap.
Yeah, the leather on them is really bad, and it feels like cardboardy. So when you even when it creases, it's like it digs heavy into your foot, and it's just not good.
That's crazy. So are there any shoes that you're looking for right now? Like anything? I mean, I know like maybe like shoes that came out recently, or maybe shoes in the back of your mind that you've been always wanting. Like, is there any ones that you're still looking for?
I'm like in a weird place with sneakers. I talk about this with my friends all the time. Where I'm kind of like I'm not over it, but I have enough shoes, right? I'm never gonna run out of shoes at this point. So I'm kind of like whatever comes around, like cool. I'm cool with that, but I'm not crying if I miss out on
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
With that said, I got super lucky in the last month or so. With a bunch of releases.
Yeah.
But what do I really want? I mean, my grail of all time is the Kobe Jordan 3s, which is never gonna happen. Like those are like $10,000.
The 3 8-pack or just the Jordan 3s?
Just the 3s. I don't need the 8s.
Okay.
I'd rather just have the 3s. I think out of the Kobe Jordan PEs, I think the 7s are better than the 8s.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's not. Maybe that's biased because I like 7s, right? But yeah. So I wanted those laser orange Jordan 3s that just came out in women's because they were almost the exact replica of the Kobe Jordan 3s.
Yeah.
But the heel was yellow instead of purple.
Yeah.
So I was just gonna paint that joint purple and make it like the Kobe's.
Yeah.
So that was the one that I actually missed out on. But like I got super lucky on everything else. Like I got the Union 4s. I got the metallic silver ones, the Japan ones.
Yeah.
But as far as like anything else, I can't really think. I mean, I'd love for the LeBron 2s to come back. That's one of my favorite shoes.
Love them, man.
LeBron 2s are so nice. But I don't know. If anyone wants to throw me some LeBron 2s for really cheap in 11 or 10 and a half,
there you go. Yeah, definitely. But, we got. Hopefully they can plug you in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, I have a pair that we talking about restoration before the podcast. I need to repair my LeBron 2s. I have the All-Star ones, but they're talking to me.
Man. Yeah. I got a homie. Yeah, we definitely gonna shout out to Hillary. He gonna take care of you. Mm-hmm. So he always sees good people. So nice segue with that, Mike. About the sneaker culture. I mean, sneaker culture has definitely changed for the worst. As far as like limited releases, oversaturation, and then you're pointing out that example with the whole Kobe thing. How can sneaker industries like assure things that they can be better, that they can get better for consumers or customers?
I think it's tough, right? So even when you're saying that like the sneaker industry's kind of gotten worse for like consumers, I think it's just I don't know if it's gotten worse. I think it's different, right? So back when we were doing sneakers, when we were like in the early days or whatever, right? You really had to hunt for your sneakers, right? Like you had a previous episode where your homie, you guys had a story about getting the grapes, right? The grapes. Grade 5.
Grade 5, yeah.
I had a similar story where I had to hunt for mine, and I drove like to mad different places. It was the only time I ever camped out for sneakers. But it's a hunt, right? Mm-hmm. And the thing about the grape 5s was that even if you missed out on it, the bad part was that if you wanted to buy them, not only would it be resale, you had to find it, right, in your size because nobody was really selling it.
Right.
Even if you're on like NT or ISS, like it was tough to find 11, 10, whatever. Now, all the sneakers are available. If you want something, it's there. You just have to pay up. That's the bad part, right?
Yeah.
So like, if I wanted some shoes that I missed out on, you could hit up GOAT, you could hit up StockX, whatever. It's there because everyone's trying to flip. It's not like before where you had to hunt for it. It's just you have to have the wallet for it now, right? So like, oh yeah, I missed out on these Union ones. It's not hard for me to get them. I just have to pay $2,000 for those joints, which I'm not.
No, everybody has a price, right? That's not my price. Like you could use that. You can use that 2K for like going to go to Japan with your girl or something else, a car, anything.
Yeah, that's why I think the industry has just changed, right? Because they know that there's that market. For me, I feel like I myself have just been like, all right, I'm gonna wake up at 7:00. I'm gonna try to go for these shoes. If I miss it, then I miss it. I'm not mad because if I really wanted it, I'll pony up and pay for it. But there's nothing for me, especially as trying to cop stuff on player prices. Like me and my homies call it being the frugal boys, or we're kind of like it's retail or bust.
Yeah.
It's retail or bust for us. So if something was going for like $300, $400, I'm not in it. Like I'm not going for that. So like I said, I think there might be a bubble on it, and I think everyone's interest in sneakers might pop eventually.
Yeah.
But until then, like you just kind of have to roll with it because the sneaker industry is the industry itself, right? It's all about making money.
Yep.
So if they can make money by hyping up all these sneakers, then they're sure as hell gonna keep doing it until the bubble bursts. So I mean, I wish I could say that things will get better, but I think it's just like there's just going to be shoes, right? If you, as a consumer, you just have to understand that there's always going to be something. So don't get hung up if you missed out on today's drop because next week there's going to be something else.
And that's the crazy part about this whole sneaker culture is that shoes used to be spread out once a month, right? Now you got shoes like every day, which is crazy. It's crazy. Like for me, like I was always looking forward to like holiday season because there's a special shoe with Jordan 11. I was always like looking forward for a summer shoe, like a Jordan 3, a Jordan 5. And then like you get something like springtime or like, January, you get like a Jordan 1. Now it's like a Jordan 1 like every 2 weeks, every week.
Yeah.
Now people want mids and they're making like OG colorways and those are people's grails. It's
knockoff
wild,
OG
man.
colorways, yeah.
It's wild. I mean, I'm not knocking anybody, but it's just that anything that Nike and they get it because they're definitely trying to mark. They're trying to milk everything. As long as people are buying, people are like spending whatever money that they have. Which is crazy. Like it's wild right now, man.
Yeah, it's a crazy time, and I'm not. I wouldn't say we're older. I guess we are older heads.
Yeah, we're older. Yeah.
I never would have seen it ever be like this. Where everyone's like, yo, I need all these Jordan 1 lows. Like, yo, what? Like, you talked in previous episodes about like how the prices on the OG 1 lows.
It's crazy. Me and my homie RJ. Yeah, we cop Jordan 1s for $50. Now I see like people like you see like Travis Scott or like some celebrity wearing a Jordan 1 low. Now they're like everyone's grill. I mean, yeah, that's cool. Like you can pay whatever you want. You got the money for it, but you're not gonna see me paying $600, $700. No, hell no. No way. You can, like I said, by all means, you can do what you want to do. Yeah,
and that's the game is a game, right?
Yeah, it is a game, right? We're all playing in it, which is sad. It's supposed to be fun, but like I still like shoes, and you still like shoes, but it's at a certain point, right? Like I'm not gonna kill myself, or I'm not gonna camp out anymore,
Yeah. Oh hell no.
Those days are done. I will always have those memories like camping out, but camping out for a raffle ticket or like camping out for someone to like call my side, you know what I mean? Like it's too much. I got things to do.
No, dude, for my grape story,
I
was all over the place.
Let's hear it.
I know me and my brother-in-law, like back then, the 2006 grape was LS release, right?
God.
So like not everybody had it. You had to find whatever store had it, right?
Yeah.
So we went all the way down to, it might have been Fullerton, and there was like a warehouse shoe sale that had it, right? Warehouse shoe sale is like I think it's a SoCal exclusive chain. I don't think they have it everywhere.
Right.
But they had an LS account, and some of their stores were getting the grapes. So we drove all the way out there, and it was cooked already. There was like a long line, and they already handed out tickets before closing.
Yeah.
And me and my brother-in-law were like, damn, like, we're going to go. And the guys in line were like, oh, we heard Ontario Mills has them at this store.
No.
So we went all the way from Fullerton to Ontario Mills.
That was like a 2-hour drive, wasn't it?
No, it's not 2 hours, but it was fucking long. I'll tell you.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like almost an hour and a half at least.
Maybe an hour. I'll give it an hour. So yeah, we went all the way to Ontario Mills, and there was like a short line, and there were people lined out, camped out, and eventually, like, what happened? Freaking, I think security came and told us like we can't stay there. Like, no one's allowed on the premise till I think 5 a.m. So me and my brother-in-law, instead of, the smart thing to do would have been just go home, because I live far from Ontario, but it's not worth like staying there. But you can't run the risk of like, all right, let's come back at 5 a.m. and you finally listen to the cops. And when you come back, there's a long line of people who didn't care anyways, right?
Yeah.
So we camped out around Ontario Mills the entire night. And we were like, trying to avoid the cops' security. We stayed at like the hotel parking lot across the street.
Sheesh.
And then we finally show up. We sneak from the hotel into the line where we were earlier than 5 a.m. or whatever time. So we're there in line. We're still pretty close to the front. And then people are starting to like get antsy and like talk shit and like, yo, if I don't get my size 10, I'm gonna juice somebody. Like almost like, you know what I mean? Like it was getting crazy. And I was like, God, I just want to get these shoes and get up out of here. And so what's crazy is that time comes up, the place opens up, and I'm one of the first 10, 15 in line. So I get mine, but they're letting us all in one at a time, right? They were telling us, they were letting us into the mall like one at a time, and people were running, of course, right? So I get to a store, I don't think they exist anymore. It's called Against All Odds.
I've heard of that store.
Yeah. So for some reason, they had the grapes, and we're in line, and they're like, just so you guys know, we don't actually have the grapes in store yet. They're supposed to come on like today, like that Saturday. They're like, oh yeah, it's supposed to come in today at 2 p.m. And I'm like, shit, I've already been here like since last night, and I gotta wait till 2 p.m. for these shoes to get here. And they're like, oh, well, you could buy it right now, get your receipt, and then just come back at 2 p.m. and pick up.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Right. Yeah. I was like, well, shit, all right, cool. So I paid for it. It might have been what, $145 at the time.
It was like 160.
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah. Something like that. So I got them. I was like, yeah, I got my receipt. Like,
yeah.
And like there was mad people talking shit. And I was like, hey man, I got mine. Like, I'm out of here. So me and my brother-in-law, we're waiting. We both got our pairs, luckily. And we're waiting, and then 1 o'clock hits, and they're like, well, actually, we'd wait until 2. We're like, we're just checking. They're stuck at the FedEx facility down the street. We're like, all right, cool. It'll be here by 2. 2 o'clock hits. They're like, oh, actually, it looks like it's not coming till Monday. And we're like, yo, we've been here since like 10 p.m. last night.
Yeah. That's wild.
Like, yeah. So we had to leave. I'm like a zombie at this point because I haven't slept. And I was like, damn, I'm about to leave this camp out empty-handed. So I went to the Virgin Mega Store at the Ontario Mills and Cop Lupe Fiasco's Food and Liquor. Like a hard copy. I was like, at least I had something to leave with.
Yeah.
So we came back that Monday and got our shoes, and like, damn, dude, like this was such a mission just to get these grapes.
He doubled up, right? Like basically.
Yeah, I mean, we both got our pairs. I didn't say I doubled up. I wouldn't have got 2. I mean, I wish I could, but
it's only one pair that you got, right?
Yeah, I only got one pair.
Yeah, that's that grape 5 that hits a good spot for me too. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, you definitely appreciate like you listening to the previous episodes. Yeah, it was wild. Like that release itself, that it was like one of the first LS shoe. That, and then they had that it was like the laser print fives too, like the little like LS,
The
like the
orange and
orange
green
joints.
ones.
Yep,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
the undefeated fives and
The olive ones.
with the
And they came with
ugly.
the crazy jeans that had the patches on it.
Oh
And like
god,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And they all came with the matching jackets too, which is
Yeah, yeah.
what people didn't want to get. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I mean those are good times, man. I mean, just looking back, like how shoes, how the sneaker culture was. It was just like every man for himself. There's no bots. You just physically line
Yeah.
up, pay
I mean, there's
pay
no
your
bots, but there
shoe.
was camaraderie, right?
Oh, there's
You talk to
camaraderie,
people
man.
online, like, oh, that's cool,
Definitely.
yeah.
Everybody, and I hated those people like ask you, what's your size, dog? What's your size? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't like. People always say, oh, like, you better not get my 12 or my 9.5. I mean, I could care less, man. Like,
Yeah,
you know. So, wow, that's a crazy
bro.
story, Mike. So we're
Yeah.
almost at the very end of it. So, and I'll ask you this question: what's your advice for people who wants to get into shoe designing and also who wants to get into like sneaker collecting? I know it's crazy right now, but what advice would you give them?
For both of them, just dive into it, right? Like when it comes to like working in the footwear industry and designing sneakers, uh, like I said earlier, like I'd always recommend going to Pensole. I'm not sure what their situation right now is with COVID, because back when I was going, uh, they would they would fly you. Well, you had to pay for your ticket, but once you went to Portland, they'd pay for your room and board. Like you'd have your own spot to stay. You just go attend the classes every day. But that really gave me like the right tools to work in the industry. And if you really want to work in the footwear design, just like work your ass off, because that time when like I said, I gambled on myself. Like I was spending every single day just designing shoes, coming up with crazy concepts, doing whatever it took just to keep problem solving, right? And you asked me earlier, like, was it like for like designing shoes? I forgot to mention that problem solving and storytelling are like the two most important things, because any shoe, whether it's a LeBron or a Kobe, it's all about solving a problem, right? Um, hold on, I think my AirPods went out.
That's all right.
Okay, cool. All right.
I can hear you.
Oh man, one AirPod works, and the other one doesn't. Oh, you
It's
good?
cool. Yeah, I can hear you. I can still hear you.
All right, yeah. So it's problem solving, right? So whether it's a LeBron or a Kobe, they have different problems to meet, right? Kobe, you want to be closer to the ground, quick response. LeBron, you need more impact protection, whatever, right? So it goes both ways. Like there's problems to solve on both ends, right? So how do you solve that problem? And there's multiple ways to solve that problem. So design, just keep designing, keep sketching, no matter how crazy your ideas are, no matter how unrealistic it is, make it unrealistic, then keep drafting and toning it down, right? So I have this shoe with a freaking wing because it needs to fly. And then,
Yeah.
okay, how can I make this realistic? How can I make this a design element, whatever, right? Like work at it. And then network. Network is another big thing, because I guarantee, I think one of the reasons I got hired at DC was that one of the guys was like, yeah, I was watching the Pensole. Pensole had a YouTube series that summer. And they were like, yeah, so the Pensole YouTube series, I thought it was really cool. It would be pretty interesting to interview you.
Yeah.
So they saw that on the resume and they're like, let's talk to this guy, you know? And then even opportunities after that, I had a few interviews with like Nike, and that was because I was chopping it up with one of the homies who worked at DC before and left to work at Nike. And if I didn't have these little connections or like have these good relationships with people, I never would have had these opportunities, right? Even if it was just an interview. Granted, it was for the wrong position, but
Yeah.
it opens doors, right? Like I know a lot of cool guys, sneakerheads, whether it's in collecting or in like sneakers in general. It's kind of like elitist, you know? It's like, oh, I'm cool. I have all these shoes. Why am I going to help these people out? At least now it is kind of right.
Yeah.
But if you're too cool for everybody else, you're going to shut your doors to any other opportunities, because no one's going to want to work with you, right? Like you have to work with someone you like, and I'm not going to help out this person that I know I hate working with, you know?
Yeah.
So networking and just constantly working at it, right? I think those are the most important things in design and freaking collecting sneakers. Because if you want to collect sneakers, it's kind of like all about who you need to know, right? Or who you know.
It's about connection too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think it works for both. Definitely. I'll keep that short because I know all my answers have been like
no. Those are great. Yeah, those are. Hey, I appreciate like those all the information or stories too that you gave us. So my last question for you, Mike, and I appreciate you coming on tonight. What questions do you have for me?
It was something that we kind of like skimmed over, but what's your biggest player price purchase? Like, what was I guess that would be the reverse, right? What's the cheapest thing that you got that was?
What's the cheapest thing I've ever bought, like shoe wise?
Yeah, what's the biggest come up? Well, let's put it that way.
Come up?
Right? Yeah.
You want to know come up? Okay. So I haven't told anyone because part of it too, part of the how do I say it? Part of the fun of buying stuff is that you keep it to yourself, that you cherish it, right? You're not that type of person that will brag like, yeah, I got this for cheap. Me and the homie RJ, like we, it's all in good fun, right? We don't like
it's not for the flex.
Yeah, we're not flexing on Instagram like, yeah, I got this for like 20. Sometimes I do for fun, for fun. I do it all for fun. I'm not here for like to get likes or like get retweets. But the biggest come up I've ever got, it would be, this was like a couple years ago at Marshall's. After work, I was just, let me just check out what they got. So I found 3 pairs of Comme des Garçons black blazers. And
wow.
I think they were like $49.99 or $39.99. Mm-hmm. So imagine, right, a designer Nike collab. And I still have them. They're in my they're in my like closet. Yeah, still have. I sold one to the homie for retail. Like that's because that's how you're supposed to do it, right? I sold one. I think I may have sold it for however they sold. I think maybe like 300, 350. I think like 300. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, because like I was like, you know what? Like this guy was like asking me like, hey, like I know you got those because I told him like, yeah, I bought these CDGs, but I didn't tell him how much I got them for. So like, yeah, like like I'll sell them to you if you want. And then he's like, all right. He's like one of those like designer dudes. Like, yeah, I want to get these shoes. All right, 350, 300. That's fine. So I still have a pair to myself. So yeah, I mean it was like $39.99 or $49.99. That was a come up for me because like Marshalls is one of the nice like Marshalls, Burlington, Ross, TJ Maxx once in a while because the all depends of like what you get. Plato's Closet, your local Salvation Army, or your thrift stores. Yeah, I mean I've had my share like buying stuff at another come up too. Ross, long time ago in Maryland, nobody cared for Kobe's, right? Like Kobe is like it's like foreign to us. Like why would someone want to wear Kobe's back in like 2006? I want to wear like flight posits and foam posits. So me and my homie RJ went to Ross. I think it was after hooping. I came up with some Nike Huarache 2K4 the gold lasers. For I think it was like $29.99.
Damn,
them shits were like size 13, right? So I was like, man, should I get these? And then a good friend will tell you to get them no matter what. Hey, bro, like just double sock them, and I did. So I bought them for $29.99. At that same day too, I remember there was do you remember the picnic the picnic Air Max 1s? Like it was like the plaid blue ones. So I had a chance to get those for like $29.99 or $24.99. But you know what I'm saying? Like you were broke boys. I was broke boys back then. So I could only afford to get one shoe. I was like, you know what? Let me get the Huaraches. I'll get the Huarache 2K4s. So sadly, I sold them because I was through that point where like I didn't want these anymore. But like I sold them for how much they were, and reasonably, I think I sold it for like maybe 250 or 200.
Oh damn.
Yeah, so it's crazy, right? Like you come
Yeah.
up, but like it's just like those small things. Oh, another one more shoe I caught for cheap. Do you remember when Monopoly was, they had a Monopoly at McDonald's, like they were
Yeah,
giving it
yeah.
out. So remember when Monopoly collabed with Foot Locker that you get like a coupon, like $10, $20 off, like when you get like
No, when was this?
this was back in I say about 2008 or 2010,
2008. Let
oh
me
06 or
look this up.
bro, like they were collabing with Foot Locker, and me and RJ, he was always he happens to always be there. I actually give you two more.
Oh yeah, go for it.
The one with the Monopoly, I was like, we were buying Monopoly. We were actually heavy on getting Monopoly stuff to like win stuff like prizes. So like the consolation prize was always like the Foot Locker coupon. So we actually got like it was like a 20% coupon. 20% coupon, right? So like this little thing, right? Like we kept them in our wallets. So like we went to a local Foot Action. They had those Kobe ones. Actually, it was when Kobe went to Nike, and they came out as the crazy ones. So it was like the sunshine, not sunshine, but it was like the Laker colorway. Those shoes were like I think they were like 30, like maybe 30, like $29.99. So on top of like the 20% off, I think we got it for like maybe $14, $15.
Ooh. Damn, that's come up.
DS2 and everything. And one last one. We went to a local Foot Action. No, Foot Action. Foot Locker. Went to a local Foot Locker. Just browsing around, just seeing like, let's see what else they got. So like the 21s came out. This was I think 21s came out. No one was buying them. The only pair that people cared was the red suedes, right? And the gray suedes. The black leather pair was on display. It was I think it was like 29. Yeah, it was $29.99. So I got
$29.99. Wait, what?
Yeah, $29.99. $29.99. So like I got a pair. Actually I got a pair. I got my size. But RJ, he wears like a 10 and a half. He actually he bought the 9.5 because like who doesn't pass? Who wants to pass on a $29.99 shoe? So he made it work, but eventually he sold it. So imagine like this the Foot Locker dude was like he couldn't believe like $29.99. I didn't even see it. Like he couldn't believe it. Like I guess he wasn't that like he wasn't like looking at the prices or whatnot. So like we showed him, hey, like you got my size, he got my size, and then RJ got the tag pair, which is the display size. So yeah, it's crazy, man. Like those are good memories, man.
What's funny is that I mean I used to work at Champs, and like stuff like that would slip up. Like our store would randomly have a pair of like a random size of shoes that we only had. Let's say we only had 2 pairs of left. We just keep it in the back because no one's gonna purchase one of these 2 random sizes.
Yeah.
And then eventually it would come up in the system like, oh, these are on sale for so and so. Like I came up on a pair of Kobe 7s.
Which ones?
The Concord colorway. It was like white, black, and purple.
Yeah.
And it's not just the regular one. It was the one that came in with the system.
Yeah, the system, right? The big box, right?
Yeah. The retail on the system ones was like $225.
Yeah.
And then it came up in the system for like $40. So I used my employee discount and I scooped them for like $30, $20 or something like that. Yeah, and then I was like, Evan, I'm just gonna hoop in these. And I don't know if you got to hoop in the Kobe 7s, but they were terrible. They were terrible for hooping because like
I heard.
Yeah, they're like mad stiff. And like it wasn't good. So I mean regrettably now because Kobe's not here with us no more. Like I returned them. I returned them to a Nike outlet instead of returning them to my store. But since the outlet had them in stores, they gave me $175 store credit.
Nice.
Yeah, and I used that to buy some like Nike IDs or whatever. But yeah, like if you ever worked at like Foot Locker, Champs, Foot Action, like stuff like that in the system happens all the time. And I used to when it was slow, I would like look up stuff in the system and just be like, all right,
Yeah, that was
what's fitting?
fun, man.
Yeah, and you could like stock locate. I remember at some point my cousin wanted these the nines. Do you remember when they did that series of nines based on random characters?
Yep.
Was it Leroy Smith? Is that the one? Yeah.
Motorboat Jones.
Yeah. There's a black and blue pair. I forgot what character it was. It might have been Motorboat. Oh no, I think that's the red one, green one, right? Or red and yellow.
Is it the Kilroys?
No. It was like mainly black and blue.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it was part of the but anyways, like my cousin wanted it, and I looked it up in the system, and someone still had it in like Jersey, middle of Jersey, and you could stock locate and like just phone order or like order it through the system, and then they'd have to order it or they'd have to ship it to us.
Yeah.
So like I did it, and the guy, I'm guessing someone at the store was holding on to it because it was like $60. They were holding on to it for themselves because they'd have the employee appreciation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was like 50% off. They were just waiting for it to go. Yeah, and I was like, damn, I almost came up on these like $60, or it would have been cheaper because of my discount. But yeah, those are the days. That was fun.
Yeah, like I said, like me and you trading stories like this. That's why people won't appreciate. Like they will never. I mean, I hate to brag, but they won't appreciate like the hunt, right? Like the hunt and the thrill of finding something for so cheap that now, I mean, you just gotta appreciate it, right? You just gotta appreciate everything that what you went through. You stopped located it. You randomly went to a Foot Locker. You see a $29.99 Jordan 21 shoe, or you use a McDonald's Monopoly coupon on some Adidas crazy ones. Those things, like I'll always like. You just gotta just cherish them, right? No matter what.
Yeah.
So
do you remember when NT would have the employee appreciation, not employee appreciation, the friends and family coupons?
Oh my God!
Nike
Yeah, bro.
They stopped doing that when I worked there.
Yeah.
I think it might have been like the year I started working there. They're like, we're not going to do this anymore. But yeah, friends and family was fun.
Nike, shout out to Nike Talk. Like they basically it's a close knit like community. Like I'm sure you have like Nike Talk, like NTLA, like people's, you know what I mean? Like those are cool homies, like you and like other people. But yeah, like Nike Talk too, like that was like fun, man. Like I participated in like summits. Like you saw like my last picture on my Instagram. That was like first, that was so throwback, dude. Like I was looking at my old heart, like holy crap, like I found like the first like summit. Like people never believe me. Like you went to like meet up with a bunch of dudes talking about like bro. Like, you just didn't know.
It's weird to say now, right?
Yeah. And then people were like, how is that? Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Crazy times.
Yeah, it's fun, man. So yeah, thanks, Mike, for for sharing your stuff. So before to like plug in like your social media, like where can they find you?
Oh yeah, on I think all social media platforms, just _Iron Mike, IRONMIKE. That's Instagram, Twitter. Those are the main spots you'll find me. I'm pretty active on both, so yeah, follow me. I'll follow back.
Of course, and I'm sure like if the Lakers do win, can we expect you to see another shirt down the road?
Oh, what's funny is that when I had the first order of shirts, I had to shut it off because there were so many people, and I couldn't get to all of them. That people afterwards were like, "Oh yeah, if you make more, I'll purchase." So if anything, if they win, I might reopen and make some more of the shirts. Maybe even do a different color. But I have another design kind of cooking up, and I'll explain that to you after the pod. It'll take a longer time to do it, but
that's cool, man.
We'll see. Follow me, and I'll keep you guys posted.
That's cool. All right, so that wraps up episode 15 with Mike Reyes. Thank you so much. You guys have a good night. Peace.
Later.